Yeah, it's a tough game. We knew it was going to be a tough game coming in. We did a lot of good things to hang around in the fourth quarter. Getting over the hump was hard. But really, I just want to express such a high level of pride for our guys. The stats don't matter because this game really didn't happen. I mean, the result happened, and they won the cup. So congratulations to them. Darwin did a great job with their team. But our guys had an amazing run over whatever this was, 5 or 6 weeks. Starting with Cleveland and then right on through. And so it brought a lot of attention to Pacer Nation. Brought a lot of attention to an exciting group of young players. Obviously, Tyrese Haliburton is now a name that everyone knows, and he's going to be in the conversation for a lot of things. From All-Star to All-NBA to MVP. Based on not just this tournament, but what he's been doing in every single game this year. So, the other really important thing was that our guys got a real taste of what the elevated stage is all about. It's so important to have this experience, to feel the intensity, to feel the glare and the glow. And to find out what it means to, be totally together in an effort to conquer it. So we conquered a lot of challenges along the way. This one tonight was a little too steep. Fouls were a problem again. But I'm disappointed with the result, but not the effort. The effort was great throughout. And so just very, very proud.
Their size, both via the points in the paint they had and via how much length they were able to put on Tyrese throughout the game. How do you feel like that changed what you guys could do, and how do you feel like you could have adjusted to that better throughout the game?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if I'm going to look at this game because really it didn't even happen. And so I'm not going to get caught up in the stats. As Bobby Knight used to say, I don't need to watch that shit more than once. This guy didn't watch a whole lot of film, is what his stories I heard about him. I will remember the togetherness, the pride that they took in what they were accomplishing along the way, and the excitement and the feeling that you get this morning and this afternoon leading up to this game is something that every athlete, every coach should feel. There's a change. There's a physiological change, and when you get into the playoffs and then you advance in the playoffs and you get to the finals, it goes to a whole nother level, and feeling what that feeling's about and how to make it your friend is something that you don't learn unless you go through this. So it's an amazing experience, and we're thankful, we're disappointed, but proud.
Said we're on the right, Dustin. Go ahead.
I guess to keep going on that, most of the time you get an event like this, your season's over after that. You move on. Now you have to go play Monday, and it's back to a 4-game road trip. I mean, how do you come off of something like this? How do you make sure that you still take all of the good lessons that you get from that, all the positive vibes, and be able to turn it around as quickly as you have to turn it around in what's going to be a totally different environment?
Yeah, I mean, we talked a little bit about the schedule this week after the game. It was mostly just, I congratulated our group. Kevin Pritchard congratulated them, let them know how proud Pacer Nation is. We had 16,500 people at a watch party at Gainbridge Fieldhouse today. I mean, this is a glorious time. But as you say, we have to move on from it. So, we're going to need our young guys to be ready. The emotions of this thing, are real. And we go to Detroit in a team that's been on horrific stretch of lost games, and we're going to more than have our hands full. I realize that. But, it's interesting. I could expound on the schedule makers and and some of the teams that aren't playing on Monday, and you look at that and you say, well, there was an expectation that they were going to be here and not elsewhere. But, to this point in the season, this has been the favorable stretch. Now, we earned our way to 3 more extremely difficult games. We won the Boston game. We won the Milwaukee game. This game doesn't go on our record. But yeah, we've got to turn the page quickly. At the same time, we've got to remember how this felt and things that we got to do a little better next time.
Right side, first row, Willie.
Willie Ramirez, Associated Press. You've been singing Tyrese's praises. Adam Silver spoke highly of him earlier. But in these last 4 days, Rick, how have you seen him grow and mature just within, taking over as far as the leader? Well, he is the leader, but, being here and then the semis and then yesterday and then today, has he grown? Is there anything that stood out to you?
I mean, the one thing that stands out to me is that he was completely unfazed by the limelight, and it brought his game to a higher level. Now, they committed 2 to him for the majority of the game, and so he had to get off the ball. So his stats aren't as gaudy as they've been in other games. But, he's unfazed. And, like Reggie Miller, a guy that is very similar to him in – body type, stature, personality, and just overall character. He wants the responsibility for winning and losing, and he wants it unconditionally, and that's special. And he works very hard at his craft. He works hard on his body, and so the future is amazingly bright for him. And I don't know. I run out of cliches. What, the sky's the limit? Come up with another one. Make one up and write it and say I said it. It doesn't matter. It's all the same stuff over and over again.
And still see kind of the emotions poured out in what is just a regular season type game that's a little bit elevated. Can you kind of describe what you and your teammates are feeling after this tough loss?
Yeah, I mean, we're sick. Frustrated. Yeah, we just got outplayed tonight from start of the game to end of the game. Just didn't do the job on the loose balls, didn't rebound, didn't get enough stops when needed.
They just outplayed us. And it's frustrating, and it's funny because it's like everybody says this has like the NCAA tournament feel, but after a game like that, and you're sitting in the locker room, you're like, damn, they graduate. You know what I mean? We play on Monday, so yeah, it's definitely frustrating, and you gotta take that one on the chin, and we got a flight tomorrow. And we play Detroit on Monday, so I know it has that NCAA tournament feel, championship feel, but I mean, that's a good question. I just think if you let that, we've done some great things to get here, competed against some really good teams and battled, and you can't let that happen for no reason. You know what I mean? So if you allow this loss to roll over, and we got a 4-game road trip coming up here, you got to take care of business and handle it the right way, and celebrate the successes of it. But at the end of the day, this is just like the regular season. It's game 22, 23. So gotta move on.
Front row on the right, Willie. Go ahead.
Tyrese, Willie Ramirez, Associated Press. Couple for you. I was watching the monitor after the game. You were making your way through the pack of winning Lakers until you found LeBron. What is it? Can you share with us anything you may have said to you? I know you idolized him growing up. It was just that moment in finding him, seeking him out, congratulating him.
Yeah, I think just congratulating the team. They did a great job. Everybody competed, and I think at the end of the day, it's just one great talking. I'm just talking to a great. You know what I mean? And congratulating him on the win, and moving on. I think that. He's shown me love constantly since I've came in the NBA, and obviously I have, for the majority of my life. So, it was great to compete against him and that team, and they're a good team, and earned that win.
One more for you. Obviously, I mean, you're coming off an all-star season last year, and you're putting up some great numbers. People are putting you in the MVP conversation. But just this week, being here, and you mentioned the NC2A tournament feel, right? What is there anything that you felt you've grown in just in these 4 days? Anything you sort of learned about yourself and coming together for this inaugural tournament, leading up to the championship?
I think these games. Sorry. I think they've said like these games have had a playoff type feel, and so playing against Boston, playing against Milwaukee, playing against the Lakers, just seeing how different coverages are, seeing how teams are going to guard me. I think tonight was interesting. There was a lot of putting two on the ball and making me make reads out of it. I had a couple early turnovers, bad ones, but then after that, I don't know what we shot from three. I don't have it in front of me, but I've 10 for 41 or something like that. We missed a lot of good looks, and that happens. It's a make or miss league, and I think for me, it's just understanding how teams are going to guard me moving forward. And every team doesn't have Anthony Davis and a bunch of 6'8", 6'9" wings, so that there's that as well. But just understanding how different looks are going to come, and this didn't have a regular season feel at all. Like I'm used to playing LeBron. Whatever he plays is 30, 35 minutes. It felt like him and AD never came off the floor. You know what I mean? It was a playoff type feel. So just getting accustomed to that, I think, was really good for me, and makes me want to play in more games that have some meaning to them. So to handle the rest of this season the right way, so I can get to the playoffs and feel that.
Third row on the left. Go ahead, Gary.
Tyrese, Gary Washington, Boston Globe. You guys have won 3 straight before this. This doesn't really count. But if not for that in-season tournament, you guys are a nice little winning streak. People aren't looking at you. With this tournament, do you think the rest of the East and the rest of the league views you differently for the last 60 games? Will you not be overlooked by opponents? Is Indiana Pacer basketball suddenly elevated because of this run?
That's a good question. I don't think that really happens anymore. I think last year we snuck up on teams. Teams didn't really know what to expect, but I think now when you play the Pacers, you know what to expect. You know we're going to run. Better have your track shoes ready. Be ready to run with us, and we're going to score, and the game's going to be up and down. So I think teams know what to expect at this point. I don't think people didn't expect us to get to here in the championship game, but I think teams are prepared for us, and we've beaten Boston, beaten Milwaukee. Those are two of the top teams in the East. We play Milwaukee here in a couple of days. They're going to be ready for us. So I think teams know what to expect when we come in the gym, and I don't think anybody's taking us lightly.
Back to the right side, Steve, third row.
Steve Ashburn with NBA.com. The networks and the media have sort of framed these games around you and your rising star. You, meanwhile, have constantly talked about winning and the team. How do you balance those values with the fact this is a star-driven league and people are excited to learn more about you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that's what, like you said, it's a star-driven league. In a world that's so like me, I just want the focus to be on, our group and our team and what we do. I think that it's kind of tiring. I think that the in-season tournament's been really good because it's forced, and us having success has been good because I feel like it's forced the media to talk about basketball and talk about what's in front of you and not have to talk about legacies and all the BS that come with it and talk about basketball. So, I think that's what's been good about us succeeding. And of course, there's going to be people have said MVP or All-NBA, All-Star, whatever, like that happens. But at the end of the day, I just want to play basketball and I want to succeed as a team. And I know that team success, individual success comes with that. So I think that's been something that I really enjoyed about our run right now is that it's forced the media to talk about what's in front of them, which is basketball. And I think as a person who loves the sport, I think everybody can appreciate that.
Right side standing. Go ahead, Tim.
Tyrese, you guys have talked a lot about the stretch you had at the beginning of the season. How's a favorable stretch? You need to take advantage of it. Obviously, you had this great run through the tournament. What does it now require for you guys to be able to take this and move forward to have the kind of success you want over the rest of the season to get into the playoffs, sort of, carry this forward the way you guys want it to?
Yeah, I think just paying attention to what has worked for us and understanding that, we can beat anybody. You know what I mean? We've proven that. And I think just ultimately it's same as always. You go back, watch the film on this game, see what we can learn from that, and just keep growing. Like, that's the great thing about playing 82 games. We play again on Monday. I know everybody thinks that they're like a genius to say that we need to play more defense or whatever the case may be. But that's the great thing about 82 games is, we get time to grow on that. Our offense, we get time to grow on that as well. That's the beautiful thing about the NBA and basketball in general. So I think just keep growing, keep learning, and not viewing the season. And I think it's easy for a young team to look, especially now that we've tasted some success, to look so far ahead and be like, oh, we get by the time we get to February, by the time of the playoffs. It can't be that. It's got to be what's in front of us, and you got to understand that. So this game you can be frustrated by. Watch the film tomorrow, but we play the Pistons on Monday. So you got to move on and just take it one day, one game at a time.
Second row middle, Dustin.
Tyrese, we talked a lot about just the possible exposure of this whole thing, but what do you think, I guess, the value is when you're talking about exposing this team to other players and it comes to building this roster? You've talked about recruiting people in the past. Obviously, there's only so much you can do on an immediate level, but what do you think this team has shown in terms of its style of play and how attractive that is to anybody else you might be trying to bring into this team, whether through trades, free agency, or anything in the future?
Yeah, I think it's ultimately just, trust your eyes, trust what's in front of you. I think people see how we play and how fun it looks, and I think that I'm a player that people want to play with. So, that at the end of the day, I can help, and I talk to guys, and everybody talked about USA and all the constant recruiting that goes within USA and stuff like that. But my job is just to play basketball. You know what I mean? And if guys want to come play with Indy, I'm gonna be here. You know what I mean? So I'm waiting whenever guys want to come. But we got a great group of guys in our locker room as we speak, and I'm just focused on that right now. And it's the NBA. There's a lot of moving parts, but I'm focused on the guys in our locker room right now, and continuing on with the season.
Final question, second row left.
Hey, Tyrese, I'll help you move on from the game here. You're the unofficial president of the Brock Purdy fan club. Can you just talk about you and Brock's kind of rise right now? You're kind of breaking out right now. He's been breaking out for a while. Can you just shed some light on that?
Yeah, that's a fire question. Me and Brock went to school together. Came into school together. We both started both as freshmen, and that's somebody I can really call a friend. And to see what he's doing and succeeding the way he is, that's really cool to see, especially being from Iowa State, where it's not a school that's expected to have this much success at the professional level in any sport. You know what I mean? So it's cool to see my brother do well. And like you said, from the moment that he started, I always was. I was showing him nothing but love, and it was cool in college. Coach Campbell, the football coach, we used to have like leadership meetings, me, Brock, and Coach Campbell, and we had a book we used to read, and we'd talk about different stuff. So like that was cool, and just seeing him succeed and seeing what he's doing, it means a lot to me, and means a lot to people, Iowa State fans in general, to see us, guys doing that, and hopefully it's a good recruiting tool for the Cyclones moving forward.
Aaron Taj talked about this a little bit, but how are you feeling and how is the team feeling after a big loss like this?
That one hurts. I think, everybody from my teammates, coaching staff, organization, we really wanted that one. So
you've played in the finals before, and Rick talked about this experience for the team. How do you take that frustration as a group and use it as positive experience going forward, if at all?
This whole experience was, a positive experience for us. It was a playoff experience for a young team who a lot of guys have never experienced the atmosphere of, what a playoff game feels like. And ever since the Boston game to the Milwaukee game to this game today, the atmosphere was electric. The games were intense. The little plays mattered. And, those offensive rebounds we gave up to Davis, those culminated and allowed us to lose the game.
Right side, second row, Scott.
What do you think this tournament helped reveal about you guys, and maybe both in a positive light and also kind of, all right, we got to improve on that?
Our potential. Like, when we buckle down and really pay attention to the defensive side of the ball, teams cannot keep up with us for 48 minutes offensively. So I think it really showed us how important it is for us to really lock in on the defensive side of the ball for a full 48 minutes, and how good we can be when we come together and believe in each other.
Dustin, front row right, good.
And we've always talked a lot about you just relishing tough defensive assignments, especially when you got to go up against somebody physical. Just What was it like taking on LeBron? Looks like you were trying to, take the contact to him as much as you could. What was the challenge like? How do you feel like you did? Where do you feel like he got you? And just what was this? How do you kind of evaluate the whole of that?
No, it was a lot of fun. I mean, like you said, I relish these opportunities to guard these phenomenal, tier 1 players. And my game plan with him this evening was really to just wear on him for 48 minutes. Even when he's running down the court, bump him while he runs, make sure he feels me, make sure I make him fight for every step that he takes. Just make him work for 48 minutes, and hopefully by the end of the game, those last 5-6 minutes, he'd be gassed, and we'd be able to run him. That was my thought process.
Second row middle.
Aaron, a little bit of a follow-up to that, but he's huge. You talked about Davis on the glass. They're just a big team. They have the length to put on Tyrese. What do you make of the challenge of big teams, especially against you guys who are smaller in general?
Yeah, I think one time they had a lineup of James, Davis, Vanderbilt, and Rui out there in the first half, and I remember I pulled everybody in. I was like, we got to rebound because all these guys are coming. All these guys are over 6'8", 6'9". So it's definitely a challenge, and it puts more onus on us to box out and take care of our individual assignments.
Back to Scott on the right side.
Aaron, what was kind of the feel in the locker room after this one, considering, it's just a regular season game, but it also meant a lot more, and then coming from a guy who had experienced the playoffs, what that's all about?
I don't look at this like a regular season game. This was a championship game. Everybody wanted to win. Everybody wanted to cement their names in history as the first team to win the tournament. So it sucks. It sucks and it hurts. But, our message in the locker room was just the middle of the regular season. We got 62 more to go. So we just kind of said, let's learn from it, watch the film, and get ready to play Detroit on Monday.
Final question, Dustin.
I was just saying, just to roll on that, how do you go from this surreal experience? I mean, the last guy, Tyrese, shakes his hand when he's walking off his Flavor Flav coming off the locker room. This is kind of a surreal deal to go from you just have a road game at Detroit on Monday. How do you guys just move on beyond this when it's in the middle of the year?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely going to be, I guess, a challenge, coming from this high atmosphere and really highly competitive game to, kind of go back into the regular season against Detroit, who's struggled so far. This will be a good test for us as well to dig deep and make sure that we, play to our strengths and play to who we know we are and not our competition.